the issue is not that we're losers. It's not that we can't find a woman. It's that why would you even look here if you have a way better option? You know, when it comes to passport bros, a lot of people are misdiagnosing the issue. They think that Western men who go abroad and use their passport to, you know, spend some time overseas looking for purpose, but also to potentially find a life partner, are doing this because they're losers and they can't find a woman. So I just want to respond to some of these misconceptions and just try to make the point from a biblical perspective that we shouldn't be making these passing these blanket judgments on people, you know, and that applies to passport bros too. Like, why is it so common that people can just crap on passport bros and generalize them and say they're all like taking advantage of third world countries, which is not the case. Like there's examples of good ones and bad ones, like in any group of people. But no, on the internet, the only thing that people can say, there's no differentiation. They just say they're all bad or they're one of them, right? So that's the whole point here. So this guy is let's just examine this guy's videos. He makes a few points and I want to examine them from a biblical perspective because he claims to be a Christian. But I'm not here to attack anyone. I just want to evaluate the points that he's making.
Tell me, out of 331.9 million people in America, actually, let's slice that number in half because it's male and female and whatever lurks in the bottom of the ocean. You mean to tell me, out of 165 million women with a M million, and of course, let's subtract the fact that some of these women are underage and old, you get the point? But
yeah, and I mean, a bunch of other issues too, the physical disabilities, whatever. I mean, what's your point? You're trying to say that statistically that you should be able to find some woman, right? Well, that's not the issue at all for people who or men, people or men, you know, men, people, women do it too. That we go abroad not because we can't find a woman out of millions of women, right? It's just that there's a much better market out there. You have a much more, like, dude, there's think about it. In the US population, almost 75% of the population is either obese or overweight. So that narrows it down quite a bit, doesn't it? Like how, if that happens to not be what you're looking for, like, more power to you. That's your choice. And you know, that happens to be some people's choices, like mine. You know, I would rather not date an obese or overweight woman. I'm sorry, but you have, like, there's just no question for people who have actually been abroad. There's a much better chance of meeting a suitable candidate, and they'll just treat you right. It's not an issue of like, oh, they need to treat me like a traditional wife would. Like, I don't have this clear idea of what traditional means in my mind. So that in and of itself is a misconception and a misnomer. People telling us that, oh, these men, they want this, they want the traditional wife. Well, don't tell me what I want, okay?
shitty qualities. Can I say shitty just for this video? No. The same thing.
So this little quip by him seems a little weird because he's getting all awkward about his use of language and his kind of internal struggle with the Holy Spirit about whether he should curse or not, or say things like the SH word, right? Like, oh, so edgy, right? But he's kind of having this internal struggle, and you wouldn't know by watching. If this was the first video you saw of him, you wouldn't be like, oh, this must be a Christian. Like, maybe you would get a hint of it, but like, you'd be like, why is he doing this right now? I was a little confused when I saw it, because I didn't know what he was doing. But apparently at the end of the video, he attributes this to...
It comes from the Lord. Now, to piggyback on that, we live in a society which ultimately brings me to my ultimate point. Lack of God. And yes, I'm going to be that guy. Let's be honest. A lot of you guys are looking for a traditional wife, somebody who's going to be submissive, someone with values and morals, whoop-de-doo, and all the above. But reality of the fact is, you yourselves are not perfect candidates for these type of women. Because these girls are also looking for traditional husbands. And that is why I cannot wrap my head around the fact that out of the millions of women in America, you still couldn't find somebody that is traditional, with good values and all that type of jazz. Because I've seen women like this. I know these women. They're at church. Now, I'm not going to tell you go to church and go find your wife. That's not what I'm telling you. It doesn't work like that. The Bible even says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. Favor from the Lord. Remember, it comes from the Lord. Now, to piggyback on...
Okay, so this guy is trying to make a lot of Christian points. You know, points about the Bible. And I want to respond with a few of my own points. Just to reach out to this dude. I mean, I just saw this video and it's like, this guy has a good heart, I think, but just the issue of making blanket judgments, passing judgments on people without really knowing them is part of the issue. And the title of this video says it all. Passport bros are losers. How can you generalize like that if you don't know a passport bro? Or, you know, because if you actually know someone, or you know a group of people who you would consider passport bros, you might find out that the devil's in the details. It's not all that easy to group them in like this. And that goes with any type of generalization. Like even Paul, the Apostle Paul and Jesus grouped people in, and they recognized the general type of response that they would get from either Jews or Gentiles. Jesus recognized this when he was talking, you know, about how the Gentiles would respond and the Jews, but obviously he's not saying every Jew and every Gentile. Otherwise, nobody would be saved, right?
On that, we live in a society where everything is just backwards. They're at church. Now, I'm not going to tell you go.
And this thing that women are at church, that you can find women at church, like not in America anymore. I've tried that. I mean, listen, I don't want to count anything out. You might find a young, beautiful lady at church who you might like to get to know and might like to get to know you, but that's just not where young people are in America. And I make this in another video of mine, that people are just separate. They stay in their separate little cliques and groups, and nobody interacts with each other in America anymore. We're just kind of wandering around inside our metal boxes and taking our private spaces with us everywhere we go. And we're with our little groups if we're in church, right? So the kind of churches that young people go to, they already have their friends. They're not worried about meeting someone. So you just can't do it. Like, you can't meet someone at church. And if you go to a more traditional church, like, there's not going to be any young people there. They're traditional. That means they're old people, right? So the issue is not that we're losers. Is not that we can't find a woman. It's that, why would you even look here if you have a way better option? So I wanted to kind of look at a couple of examples. And this guy that you see on my screen, he talks about the cure to male loneliness, and he's just got his icon is a picture of a lion. That tells you exactly what he thinks about himself. So this is a real stereotypical passport bro. This is an example of the stereotype, okay? But that's not saying that all passport bros are like this, and I think this is obvious. But you can see that he kind of says things like,
having a rotation of girls.
Exactly. You just keep a rotation of girls in your pocket, like he literally says, for a rainy day, right?
Even if you're married, I know this seems a little bit controversial, but when you look at it from the point of view of, they will always have the advantage, and you will always be at a massive disadvantage. Keeping your options open and having a bunch of other kind of side girls that you're always in contact with will always be a security blanket. It will be.
So this guy thinks he needs a security blanket against being alone. Maybe you need to reflect on that a little bit, dude. Like, this is an example of a passport bro who literally thinks he's the man, and he goes around in Asia and just takes advantage of women, basically, and he puts it on YouTube for the world to see. Like, why would you do so? He has like 10,000 subscribers. Just the general is just the like, he is the stereotype, basically, and that's what he's trying to represent here. Like, one man's life mission to get more women, right? We don't all think that way about women, and I want to make that point because as Christians, I think we're called to a higher standard, and we hold each other to that standard. So this video isn't meant as a personal attack against anyone, but I want to say, let's stop the hate, let people do what they want to do, let the men seek love wherever they want to seek love, and the women do the same, right? And stop acting like if you're from America, you need to stay in America. No, like, if there's better options out there, why would you stay with the pool that gives you the least chance of success? It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not. You can, the thing that determines whether you're Christian or not is how you treat people when you're over there. And nobody's perfect. And I want to make that point because I'm not perfect. And, obviously, in an ideal world, 0% of Americans would be obese and overweight, right? We recognize that that's not realistic, but at the same time, that doesn't mean we stop trying. We try to glorify God in everything that we do, and we try to reach for His grace and recognize that we are fallible people at every level. So all of this stuff is just not helpful. Even as a Christian man, if you proclaim yourself to be one, and then okay, why would you have more of an issue with saying SHITTY than making blanket generalizations about a group of people and calling them all losers? To me, that's more of an issue as a Christian than saying some word that has no meaning, right? And you already tell this guy thinks he's funny, and and one other thing, he doesn't want to show his face to the camera, obviously. So, why not have a little dignity, bro? If you're going to be talking smack on people, like at least show your face and, be real with people. And that's kind of my goal, is to be real and say that, hey, it's okay to do this thing while not being a bad person, right? To differentiate, to say, oh yeah, okay, they're not all bad people, and you're not a bad person for doing that, but also have a little respect for people and a little discipline for yourself, and it goes a long way. The way you treat people comes back on you in life in a big way. So in closing, I just want to say that yes, there are losers out there, and I'll give you an example. I lived in China when I was a bit younger, and there was a guy there about 58, 60, whatever. He's retired, and you could just kind of tell sometimes I didn't know any better. I went up to his apartment, and he had a lot of girls. I actually met one of my first girlfriends through him, and he had like 5 or 6 different Filipina girls living in his apartment at the time, just staying in bunk beds in one of his rooms while he had the other room. And I don't know what he was doing with these girls up there, but you can just imagine. I mean, like, why would any guy be doing that? Was it out of charity? You think he was doing it because these girls just needed a place to stay? I mean, maybe, but I could tell just by talking to this guy. He would talk to me about his conspiracies and how he had an acting career in China of all places, which, you know, well known for their hit movies and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I guess he did act in a movie there, and like the things he did for money, and in general he just acted like a major slob. He would drink and just talk nonsense about stupid stuff. And like, I remember I used to put up with this guy a lot, and I don't know why, but at the time it was like I didn't really care. So I just want to reach out to guys, because it's, you know, it's been a while since then, but I know there's a lot of guys in my situation. They feel like traveling the world is just kind of a vacation from life and they can do whatever they want. But I want to remind people to stay responsible. If you're a Christian man, act that way. And don't treat women like crap when you see it has consequences for both you and any other women you meet. So I want to leave you with that point. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked the content, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, all that stuff if you want to see more content. I do all this, you know, not for myself, but hopefully it helps somebody out there. And also in a way it does help me sort of organize my thoughts. Because you know, I'm not a rich guy, but I'm trying to get out there and travel a lot, and plane tickets are expensive. So I'm gonna bring back the travel videos. It just depends on where. Well, I don't want to say this channel because it's not about that. You know, it's not all on you guys, my subscribers. But I just want to say I really appreciate you guys, because, you know, the more that you guys watch, the more that it shows me that people care, and maybe I can get back out there and start doing travel videos more often, which is what I really want to do. So thank you anyway for watching, and with God's grace, later.